There is no other public servant I've ever met who has done more for habitat restoration on public lands in the United States.
She's a force for nature. She always puts plants first.
She never sees limitations, she only sees opportunities.
There's no greed, no ego.
It's just in her nature to be passionate and motivated and to never give up.
There really is no one like her that can fill her shoes.
She helped me find my graduate program, even came to my wedding. She's just super important in my life.
Peggy Olwell is the lead for the Plant Conservation and Restoration program in the Bureau of Land Management.
Peggy is the most friendly, cheerful, and positive person you're ever going to meet. She always makes time for everybody.
She's a total spitfire and has a multi-decade reputation for really caring about plants and habitats.
Peggy single-handedly has really created an engine of conservation in the U.S. She has been a driving force in getting botanic gardens to be part of the conservation movement from her earliest days.
Well, the Seeds of Success program has been one example.
The Seeds of Success program is one where the Bureau of Land Management works with botanic gardens around the nation to ensure that the Bureau of Land Management has the seeds that it needs to restore damaged habitat.
Restoration was sort of a, we just need to make things green again kind of field, and people were restoring habitats with plants that weren't native to that place. Sometimes they weren't even native to the state.
The Bureau of Land Management holds about 1 out of every 10 acres of land in the United States.
BLM is intended to be used for mining, for recreation, for grazing. It is meant to be used. It is not for conservation purposes. BLM was using all sorts of non-native to revegetate areas that need to be revegetated, and they were actually part of the problem.
Peggy's understanding that people were sort of doing the best they could with restoration of wildlands, but that we never had enough native plant material to do it right.
Native plants have evolved in a place with the critters, with the soils, with the climate, and they are more sustainable in that place. They support the web of life. They're the foundation of biological diversity. That's it.
She sees how much we've lost in this country through all the disturbances and how we're losing so much of our vegetation.
It actually matters which plants we put in which places. It's not just making places green again, it's making sure that they're functional.
Clearly, no one can say no to Peggy. She got them to be a leader in native plant production and native plant use. Certainly before she really took her leadership role, that was not the case.
And that has just been a game-changing initiative for restoration in the U.S.
When she got to BLM in particular, she was able to mobilize resources that would pay botanic gardens to get more involved in doing native plant work. Because of her start with us, we not only have that rare plant biologist, but our rare plant team now has a team of 8.
So a lot of the work that my team does has been focused on rare plants that occur on BLM land. And so a lot of our rare plant conservation work is funded by BLM and programs that Peggy started. Not only through Seeds of Success, but also through her pioneering work to get public-private partnerships to work on plant conservation.
One of the things that she did was to be a co-founder of the Plant Conservation Alliance. That includes now, I think, 17 federal agencies and about 400 non-federal groups.
To get to reflect on the legacy of a woman like Peggy, who you can see all of these major initiatives at the federal level and the millions and millions of dollars that her efforts have put toward conservation and restoration. It's very impressive and extremely inspiring.
She is one of the few folks that's able to maintain a funding stream to keep these programs really developing and growing the way they need to.
Her work is demanding because she has to work with the people in Washington, D.C., botanic gardens, other NGOs, plus she has botanists in most of the western states where there are BLM lands.
All of us have learned from Peggy, and no one's ready to step into her shoes that I'm aware of.
And I think it's going to be imperative that people within government and people like me who collaborate with government, that we learn from her and that we understand how she was able to be successful so that we can keep this work going into the future.
Peggy's tireless and tenacious. When she starts on something, she's looking at ways to make things change. She'll look outside the box. She doesn't worry about doing what's traditional. She's never going to give up on any of this.
What would this world look like without Peggy? A lot more degraded lands, a lot less functional habitat and food webs, and a lot fewer inspired conservationists.